Hello, welcome to my channel, Winged Spiritual Clarity. My name is Wendy Wayne. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for you, tuning into the day's energy, seeing what divine messages of guidance come through. This is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. I'm so grateful for all of you. I hope you are happy and healthy and enjoying your journey to becoming more and more yourself. Let's get to your reading. All right. So in the past, we have the Strength card. Feels like internal strength. You're working on your confidence. You're facing your fears. That's how we become more confident. I think a lot of you in the past, by facing your fears, you started realizing that the walls that you thought you would have to pound through were paper. Your fears were paper, keeping you stuck, thinking that those walls were solid. It feels like you're taking your power back in the past. Feels like there's a fire inside of you, an anger. It feels like you're rising up. It feels like there's a fire in your belly, and you're allowing yourself to perceive this very powerful energy, anger, frustration, resentment. Just like a no. There's something, it feels like you are harnessing your power. Wow, what's this in regards to? What do we need to know about the Strength card in the past? Page of Cups. You know what? This has the lion and the lamb type of feel to it. Even the colors are complementary. Blues and oranges. It feels like there's this inner strength. It doesn't feel like you're showing up. It feels like you're facing your fears. You're creating this confidence, but it feels like you are cosplaying as someone very sweet and kind, very gentle, very demure. This is such an interesting energy. It feels like the way you wield your strength isn't outward and trying to exert power over others. It feels like you are taking your power back, facing your fears, finding an internal confidence. And you also have this very sweet, kind, spirited type of energy. It feels like you're a sweetheart. I feel like in the time that I'm tuning into in the past is yes, you are a sweetheart. You're very kind. It feels like that you enjoy that gear, that aspect of yourself, just very loving, very nurturing, very kind, very, agreeable person. But it feels like someone's taken advantage of you, or everybody. It feels like you're at a point where you're not wanting to be walked all over. You have other gears other than just being kind and sweet, and it feels like you're showing yourself. I can be kind and sweet. It feels like you're making a distinction. I'll be kind and sweet, but you need to match that. You need to invite that energy out of me. I'm not just going to give my kindness away to everyone. Anyone who feels entitled. So you're starting to stand up for yourself. Justice. You're creating justice, balance for yourself. Sweet, yes. So yes, I have this gear, kindness, very sweet. But, I also have this gear that balances. I know how to stand up for myself. It feels like you're learning how to stand up for yourself. You can't just be this. You need the balance of an inner strength, of recognizing who's not for you, of standing up for yourself, protecting yourself. Feels like you're bringing in a balance. You're not just blindly giving away all of your love to whoever is there. This is very empowering. Feels like you're creating this justice. You're not waiting for justice. By you balancing your kindness and your confidence, your strength, you are bringing justice about. Anything else we need to know? Okay. Being just sweet, just a lamb, just kind, just giving in the past did not lead you to your happily ever after. I think you were raised to believe that if you are in this sweet, kind, loving energy and you give and sacrifice yourself, that you would find your happily ever after. But it didn't lead to that. It led to being miserable. Being just really miserable and scratching your head trying to figure out, like, I thought this was going to lead me. I thought by being kind and sweet and caring and generous to everyone in my environment that I would eventually, it would come back. I would receive that care back. But instead, by giving everything away and not requiring anything from others, you didn't respect yourself, and you didn't say no, and you didn't protect yourself. You didn't have that confidence, that inner strength to realize your own value. And so you gave and gave and gave. And it didn't lead to your happiness. It led to the exact opposite. And so I'm tuning into this time in the past where you're bringing in the energy of truth, clarity, justice. It feels like a lot of uncomfortable truths. I've got to see what's going on, what's really happening here. There's also, it feels like you're working on this like it's your job. I want the truth. And the truth leads to grief. 5 of Cups. A lot of grief. This is such sadness, like a recognition that 11:11 on the clock, that this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe this was a twin flame. It was a lesson. It was a relationship and a way of being that you were needing to discover about yourself, not to give yourself away, not to find your own value. If you don't perceive your own value, no one else's. If you don't respect yourself, if you don't respect your time, if you don't set healthy boundaries, no one else's. So how you are perceiving yourself, others just match that energy. All right. Whew. In current energy, we have the 8 of Cups. Walking away from something, there's still emotions attached to this. A lot of water, a lot of emotions, but a need to walk away. This isn't enough. There's nothing here for me. There are emotional attachments, but it's It's not your Nine of Cups. It's not your Ten of Cups. It's not your happiness. It feels like I'm talking to someone who has some heavy, strong emotional attachments. And with people, with situations, that's really hard for you to take your power and walk away. Feels like you were raised with a belief that I'll just keep fixing this. I'll keep being kind. I'll keep working on this. All right, what do we need to know about the Eight of Cups? I just heard you're perfecting your walk-away game. Walking away from this. Five of Swords. Someone who feels like they have control over you, power over you, that they're better than you, that they can bully you. They want to lord over you. They want you to submit. This person, it feels like, this feels really disappointing. I feel a great deal of disappointment because it feels like you've poured yourself into this relationship only to realize that this person never wanted a partnership. They didn't want an equal. They didn't perceive you as another being. They perceived you as someone to own, someone to control, someone to dominate. This person this person has daddy issues. This feels like a toxic masculine, this idea of feeling powerful. It could be in a female form. I'm not gendering this person, or it can be non-binary, this person, but it feels like there's it feels like this person had no control in their childhood. They were lorded over by a very toxic masculine energy, and it's like their whole childhood, I can't wait till I get the turn, when I get to be in control, when nobody can argue with what I say, when everything that I say is right. Not because it is right, but because I'm the boss of the household and I get to say, and everything I do because I'm at the top of the household is just right because I'm perceiving it. So it feels like the person that you're having difficulty walking away from is not interested in connection, a relationship of love and connection. They're wanting control, and they haven't healed that wound, and you can't heal this for them. When we heal our woundedness, it comes from inside the house. We have to heal ourselves. Sure, we can have others that can guide us and help us, but we have to do the work, and it is work. All right. Four of Wands reverse, Two of Wands. Unhappiness. Very unhappy. Strategizing. So I get a couple messages here. It feels like some of you are ready to walk away from this type of energy, from this unhappiness. With Two of Wands, it feels like you haven't left the house. It feels like you're planning. You're strategizing. How do I leave? How do I get out of this? For some of you, and you'll know who, if it's you, to leave this type of relationship, I think safety is important. I think not sharing not giving. This person is not your person. You don't share with them anymore. You pull your energy back. And safety. Can you leave this relationship safely? Do you have an attorney? Attorneys can be very helpful to help you give a strategy. A lot of you I perceive don't know your rights, don't know what that looks like. Separating from this person feels like say less. You're trying to create fairness in a meeting of minds with someone who has no intention of meeting of minds. This person wants to dominate you and wants you to submit. Wants they need to be right all the time. There is no, as I'm perceiving this, if this is resonating, this person doesn't want to work things out. Unless working things out means you be quiet and go back to the unconscious agreements and go back into just being Page of Cups, constantly sweet and kind. And it feels like being in this relationship, you've had to stunt your own growth. It feels like you've had to, there's a arrested development here emotionally, by being around someone who is so emotionally bankrupt. It feels like you're only allowed to be in this energy, kind, sweet, whatever you say. But oh my gosh, yeah, oh yeah, so sweet. But you're not allowed to get angry or take your power back, which is what you need to do, is go through resentment and anger and frustration and rage to take your power back, to get to neutrality and ease and calm and joy and happiness and love, those high shelf, top shelf vibrations. Are, if you're never allowed to be angry or upset, if somehow people have made that like bad, to feel those emotions are bad, to express those emotions are bad, then you don't want to be bad. And so whenever you feel those emotions, you go back down into sadness or just meekness, kind of disempowering, only allowed to be like a child. All right, anything else we need to know? Nine of Swords reverse. You're getting out of a nightmare, out of a stuck place, out of a just constantly stuck. But it's a comfort zone. It feels like you're getting out of that. You're letting yourself out of a comfort zone, out of a nightmare. Two of Cups in reverse. This is not love. I don't think you recognize this. You're not receiving this as love, as happiness, as celebration. You're tired of breaking your own heart by staying in a situation, staying in a place where you feel unloved and uncared for. It feels like you're pulling the swords out of your heart. I'm no longer going to betray myself to appease this person, stay with this person, try to fix this. Feels like a lot of disappointment and regret coming up, and frustration, and what did it all mean? A waste of time, like that type of energy coming up. What I can tell you is that nothing is ever wasted. you will definitely glean a lot of wisdom from what you've gone through, and you take the emotions from what you've gone through, and you have an opportunity to transmute those emotions into something that you would prefer. Right now, with the Wounded Warrior, 9 of Wands, it feels like you're guarding yourself. You're protecting yourself against a person who at some point felt like your ride or die, your closest person. But now you're having to protect yourself from that person, even though you still have feelings. This is complex. This is very complex, and it's not easy. It's not simple. All right. In what's hidden, we have 10 of Wands. You're ending a very not painful, an exhausting cycle. You're almost there. It feels like you're almost there. The 10 of Wands, the person is carrying all that they've grown, their harvest, back home, and they're almost there. It feels like you're almost there. It also feels like you've experienced life a lot through the lens of 10 of Wands, of doing the burden, carrying others' burdens. It feels like you've been an emotional Sherpa, mental and emotional Sherpa for someone else. It feels like you might be a wayfinder. You might be a wayfinder, but it feels like it's time to retire your Sherpaing shoes. You can show people the way. You can integrate and show people by your example. You can show people, you can help people on their way. But it feels like you are firing yourself from the job of doing the labor for others. It doesn't help you, and it doesn't help them in the long run. It might be an instant relief for someone if you help them, if you take on their emotional burden for them, if you help them, but you are enabling them to stay in an undeveloped space by helping them. Feels like you have an opportunity to stop fixing, stop rushing in and fixing others from your woundedness, and instead hold space for others. Don't try to shift them from that energy. Really, a lot of times people who are like trying to make people feel better, trying to get you to feel better, they're just uncomfortable with however this person's feeling, and so there's I feel so uncomfortable with how you're showing up, so I want to shift your energy so we can get out of it, so we don't have to sit in it. That's kind of a wounded healer. Let me rescue you from this, instead of someone who has gone through this, someone who's found their inner strength, recognizes that you can't repress and expand. You can't diminish. You can't ignore. You face it. Sit in it. Hang out in the uncomfortable energy. A lot of times in personal readings, people who feel very, very, very stuck, and their energy is very stuck, and they just, how to help me, get me out of this energy. I don't want to be here. And instead, I say, let's sit with where you are. All your power is in here in the present, and you're exploring being stuck. How does that feel? Really uncomfortable. Get me out of this. Well, yeah, it's really uncomfortable. Where is it uncomfortable? It feels like worry. It feels like stress. It feels like trying to find an answer, trying to find a solution, trying to find relief from this anxiety, from this discomfort, feels like there's so much fear and that it's hard to find where the light is. It feels very uncomfortable. It feels very anxious. And it's okay to feel these things. It's okay. There's nothing, it doesn't make you bad to perceive these things. It doesn't make you wrong to be feeling these things. It's important to feel. And now as you're tuning in, can you still feel that anxiety at the same level, or has it shifted? Has it moved because you've sat with it sat with your own emotions, sat with the own discomfort of it, got to know anxiety a little better? You can even ask anxiety, what are you here to teach me? What am I to learn from this? First message I get back is to be present, to stop trying to control the future, but to be in the present. And that's where all your power is. All right. By the way, any psychic tools that I share in this reading space, they are for you to take and use as is, to take and modify, or to completely disregard and discard. They are not my tools. It's just information, and if you find benefit from those tools or modifying the tool to work for you, fantastic. The guides that I communicate with just want you to know this information is free. Personal readings and things, yes, are paid for so I can support myself. But all of this information and the tools are free for you to use and change and shift. So I don't own them. Feels like that's important to say. Hopefully uplifting all who listen. All right, anything else about what's hidden? Okay, it feels like it's been a challenge to find clarity and happiness. It feels like you didn't understand that truth and clarity are where your happiness is. You can't have your happiness and ignore the truth. And this might be ignoring red flags, settling. Feels like it's been a challenge for you to find your happiness. With that anxiety, I think part of this is going to start working its way out because it looks like you are inviting in the truth. You're no longer listening to what others have told you. When you came into this world, this is what this world is, and this is how you need to behave. And if you behave in this way, then you'll find your happiness. You'll be good. And it feels like by attuning to beliefs, by giving your power away, giving authority away to others, that you didn't find your happiness, and that's very confusing and also very anxious. So it feels like you were taught to attune away from your own divinity and follow others, listen to others. And it looks like you're reworking things. It feels like once you let go of this way of being, slowly disentangle from any type of relationships or relationship that's like this, Eight of Cups, walking away from it, then it feels like your anxiety you're no longer walking on eggshells. You're no longer confused. You're no longer trying to convince someone to love you. You're just loving yourself. Wow. All right. Outcome and advice is the King of Swords. Lady of the Lake giving the sword of truth. Very Arthurian truth. It feels like your outward masculine King of Swords energy. It feels like you are showing up head over heart. It's time to make discerning decisions, tough decisions. It's time to cut people out. It's time to not allow people in. It feels like you're really reworking things, taking action. It's huge change from where you showed up at the beginning of this reading, Page of Cups with the Strength card. Finding your balance, being kind in your strength. It feels like you are just the facts, ma'am. I keep hearing your cutoff game is fantastic. There's some belief that's still holding you away from your freedom. It feels like, okay, it feels like people have been able to, in the past, to come in like player energy. It feels like someone coming in and they want you so bad. And that you love being, it fulfills you to be wanted, because it feels like you might have had a lot of neglect as a child, not getting your needs met. And so when a player comes in, takes you in and is like just love bombing you, tell, oh my gosh, you're amazing. It feels so amazing to be wanted, to be needed, to have someone want you so badly. It feels like you've been waiting for that feeling of being wanted. And it looks like at the beginning of the love bombing, it feels like medicine. It feels like fulfillment after not feeling needed. There's something about a player type of energy has really powerful desires and wants, and it feels so good to be wanted. And it feels like that's a belief. I want to be wanted. I think what you might be looking for is belongingness, but being wanted, close enough. Close enough. Yeah, and it creates a recklessness in your spirit. It feels like you get lost in the sauce, because it feels like it's fulfilling a wound. So it feels like you're ignoring red flags, because this is a feeling, being wanted just feels so good. Being so desired, being chased after. Oh, it is a good feeling. Yeah, you lose your judgment reverse. You lose your judgment. You lose your noggin. That's why you're needing that King of Swords energy is this. It looks like that desire, being desired, being wanted, fulfills something in you. But I think it's adjacent. Someone's taking advantage of that wound, of your neglected desire to belong. And instead they're giving you your desired, your wanted. And it just feels like you're lost in the sauce of it. Very ungrounded. Oh, this is interesting. There's a lot of feminine energy coming up. Okay, so it looks like this activity of being wanted by a player type of energy, it gets you really ungrounded. It's almost like you'll give up anything but hold on to that feeling. So you get a fix. It feels so good. It feels amazing. And so they're the one that's giving you that feeling wanted, and it feels like you give up anything to have that feeling. They're definitely taking advantage of your woundedness. And then what happens is, it looks like as you start ignoring, stop grounding, it feels like you kind of lose a bit of reality, quite frankly, become ungrounded and create like a separate reality. And it also feels like this person then decides who you need to be. You need to just be kind and sweet and giving. This person is wanting you to be like a mom. Tell them that they're amazing, that nothing they ever do is wrong. It keeps you sweet and kind. It feels like they want that, but they're not allowing you to be any other aspect of who you are. And that's where we started at the beginning of this reading, Page of Cups. It feels like they devolve you. To be in this relationship, you become like a regressed version of yourself. You have to, you have to give up all other aspects of you. You can only be what they perceive as beneficial to them. You're only allowed to say nice things. You're only allowed to fluff their ego. You're not allowed to disagree or be combative. And it feels like to stay in this relationship, this type of relationship, you lose yourself and you lose your fire, you lose your spark, you lose your confidence. So you're confident going into this. You're someone really loving and wonderful, but the longer you stay in this type of relationship, you lose yourself. So now I get why you're King of Swords in this outcome and advice. Being mindful of these wounds, of how people have taken advantage of you in the past, and making different choices going forward. So what an amazing reading. What an amazing reading. This is very informative. I feel like that this might kind of help put some puzzle pieces together, understand ourselves a little bit more so we can make informed choices going forward and not get so lost in the sauce. So, all right, have a great day. Take care. Bye.